All right, what's going on? We are the Defenders of Comics. We are back for another episode. It's usually on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m.
What
Central.
is happening?
We
What is
have
up, man?
Ace, we have Ref. We are going to
Hello,
talk
y'all.
we are going to talk a little bit about Eternals. We don't want to go too much into detail. We'll talk about the trailer. Talk about big news today about Kraven the Man Hunter.
Kraven the Hunter.
And then you can discuss a little bit about what we're talking about with some of the other Sony films that might be coming out.
Yeah, the other Sony films and a little bit of tidbit, a big deal with Superman and Lois. If you're a Superman fan, pretty cool. So, yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's go straight to then Eternals. Did
Hey,
everybody?
time out, time out,
Okay.
time out, time out.
Oh
We got
yeah,
a
time
penalty
out.
on this. We got a penalty on this play. Uh,
Damn it! Throw a flag.
yeah, there's a flag already. Yo, guys, if you want to continue to hear our wonderful, wonderful product, please subscribe. Please alert yourself to our when we go live. Just hit that subscribe button, just hit that bell, and it'll remind you that we're going to be here. We're going to try to be here, like Coach has said, every Wednesday about 10 Eastern. So we're here.
Hey, one thing that I have found out that is super
Hell
important
yeah!
is hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. They say if you hit that like button, it helps us out. If you are on TikTok right now, hello, we are streaming to TikTok also, and we have several in here already on TikTok. So
Nice. Hey, we just got a flag on the opening kickoff. We got to do something about our special teams.
that's a typical Dallas.
Offensive deep. Offense and defense do really good, but our special teams need some
Yeah,
work.
it does. It does.
All right, so let's
All
jump
right.
into the Eternals. Go ahead and
Yeah, we
talk
got some.
about.
I think we got a division here amongst the group. We're gonna have a little debate. So,
Ooh.
I don't debate well
um,
with people, by the way.
I kind of liked it. I'll say this: it wasn't blown away, but I'm really super intrigued because I kind of know where this should be going. So, that coach and ref, give us your quick thoughts, and
Well,
then we'll kind of get into it.
I have a quick opinion. Anytime I see Angelina Jolie's lips, I'm just drawn into amazement. So, I mean, just looking at her beautiful face, I don't know if you can go wrong. So, I mean, I think
She's
that's
she's
why I'm
looking
giving it a
she's looking as
mature.
good as I've seen her since like Tomb Raider, so not bad.
Yeah, and she looks. I don't know. Yeah, that's
That's why
why I'm
she'll
giving
probably
it an
get
A.
killed in the first
Uh,
10 minutes. So,
Exactly.
Probably they don't have the budget to keep her around the whole
we're like,
movie.
we couldn't pay her more than $1 million, so she's out.
Mm.
You all are so sexist. I'm so happy that you were really enthused on this big, massive trailer that was so cool and fun to watch. And um, all I'm saying is,
Haters gonna hate.
I know the universe is gigantic. I understand, but at the same time, if this is all so important, where the hell were they with Thanos?
Well,
Well,
that is gonna have to be addressed. That is a big elephant in the room. I mean, that's what everyone's saying. Like, oh, we didn't come out until now. What the f are you talking about? Thanos wasn't big enough for you.
yeah. What's
So
next?
yeah, they're gonna have to have that a real good explanation for that. I agree with that.
Okay, well, I'm glad you agree. Other than that, I had a problem with the shawarma at the end of the trailer. It is basically that situation, and then the little cockiness about who's going to be the next Captain Rogers, not Captain America. If you noticed,
Oh
it
yeah,
was
they
Captain
already.
Rogers and
All
Iron
right.
Man. Um, and then what's his name said he was going to be, and they all laughed at him. I did have a little problem with that, but at the same time, I'm not as familiar with the Eternals as you all are, but I do know the next one in line, wasn't it Black Knight? Out of all of
No,
them? No?
no. Black Knight is a. I don't know how he's going to play into this movie because he is not a member, nor has he ever been part of the Eternals.
Ooh. Well,
What
Soups
he
is
did
wrong.
have, well, yeah, no, he's not. But what I haven't seen what Soup said, but Black Knight did have a very he was in a relationship with Cersei, which is what's going to happen in the movie. Cersei joined the Avengers. Black Knight and her kind of had a thing for quite a while, the two of them. And so that's his only connection to the Eternals is her.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Ref, I mean, what did you like or dislike about it?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, Ace and I had a sidebar, and you know, I think they showed a little bit of the Celestials, but I think that's, to me, Eternals, there better be a big play into the Celestial part of it. And you know, I'm not a huge fan of the look of Icarus. You know, Icarus is probably one of my favorites, Eternals. I don't like him. I think he is a pretty awesome character. Um, uh, First of all, if you want a good introduction into the Eternals, you can obviously go back to what was that, Kirby?
Yeah, the original
Yeah.
Kirby run.
But you know, if you want to take a more of a modern run
What's
at
up,
it,
Peter?
you know, John Romita Jr.'s who wrote it? Do you remember, Ace?
I want to say it was Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, I want to say too.
Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, and I thought that was it was a pretty awesome thing, and I'm
It
not
was
a
good.
huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of John Romita Jr.'s art, so
You are blasphemous, but yes, you are not a fan. His
but
DC work
I
does
think
suck,
it's a
though.
good. No, I think it's a great introduction into some of those characters, and that's where I started to love Icarus. So
Yeah, I mean, I
that
guess
was
just
my
for what I
little
did
plug.
like about it, what I really liked about it was the tone and the cinematography. Didn't love the muted colors, but it had this. I think Ref and I were talking. I don't know if anyone remembers the movie Prometheus that came out several years ago, and the movie ended up kind of sucking. But that whole engineer storyline and the mood, it's like, man, this movie's gonna really go somewhere, and I loved it. And then it just totally deflated at the end. But it kind of reminded me of that. I'm like, ooh, this origin of humanity, almost kind of a biblical thing going on there. I'm like, man, I'm really liking this. I really like the tone. And I guess I'm only going off of what I think I know is supposed to happen. You know, I've heard the Kirby action in it is amazing. Go on Google and Google the Celestials. They're in the movie, and they've already got 4 of them you can visually look at. And so I know that this was also described as a teaser trailer. So, you know, it wasn't going to show you any action beats. And they probably should have. They probably should have shown at least something cool. But they didn't. But I'm loving the tone. I'm loving what I think is supposed to happen. And they say the visuals are out of sight. So I'm hoping for a lot of things.
Well, before I say much, if people are in the chat right now, I want to hear what you all thought about the trailer. We do have a couple people in here already asking some questions. Peter C. has asked, Marvel is taking a big risk here. Phase 4, this is a this is a huge jump. Hope everyone keeps the momentum going. And then Greg Kane says, if I wanted to get started in comic reading, what should I start with first? P.S. Ace knows I'm just getting started.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation. But
yeah, we might have to say that for later, but we'll get to it. What was the first question about the Celeste or about the Eternals, though?
The first question was, well, it wasn't really a question. It was Phase 4 is a huge jump.
Oh, okay.
Hope everyone keeps the momentum going. And I think they are taking a big risk on these 2 shows or movies.
You mean this and Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
But I'm totally okay. I'm totally okay with it because, again, it's out of the box thinking. I mean, think how many times DC, as much as I love them, how many times DC has rehash the same old characters over and over and over and over
Yeah,
again.
Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman.
Yep. Now you get something different. I mean, Coach, is as much as maybe you were kind of mad about the trailer, it was different than what you probably would see with a Marvel movie, wasn't it?
I don't think it showed anything, personally. I think we got to see a big spaceship. We got to see several photos or several big things where all of them were standing on a hill. But we never saw like big action or anything like that. We saw somebody doing some practice action, it looked like, but no like big fight scenes or anything. It was more or less showing you the characters, and that was really it that it went for. It wasn't like any other trailer that they have really ever done.
And that's by design, if I have to say. I mean, you've got Chloe Zhang, I think that's how you say her name, just won the Academy Award. Not that anyone gives a crap about that anymore, but she did. And the behind the scenes people are saying this is the first Marvel movie that has like a legit Oscar worthy run. Like they think it's got Oscar caliber performances and a storyline. So if that's true, then I think we do need to expect something different. And look, yeah, they're taking a risk, but hello, Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew who they were.
True.
Except deep fans,
I will say this though, the going for an Oscar doesn't impress me because most of the movies that are up for Oscars, I could give a two rats about anyway.
Oh, and to me, that is like, I hope that's not their goal. If it just happened, and they're like, "Wow, this has legitimacy of an Oscar movie," I guess fine. But you're right, and I bet a lot of those movies are pretty good if they're not just beating you over the head with a message. But you're right. These days, man, I don't want to see Nomadland. I don't.
Right.
There's too much other crap I want to watch. I don't give a shit about Nomadland. It may have won Best Picture, but I don't even want to try it. I don't care. So
see, Peter just said exactly what I said. What does Oscars mean to you when movies like Infinity War and Endgame with nothing?
Yeah.
Right.
I
agree.
I think Black Panther got some maybe notification for like cinematography and stuff like that.
It actually got nominated for Best Picture, but it didn't win. So yeah. Now, but again, I think you're going for a different tone. Now, the whole movie is like, oh, look how beautiful the scenery is, and look how poignant the performances are, and look what caliber of cinematography that is. Like, okay, but if you don't bring the Marvel action too, then I'm gonna have a problem. Yeah, and then they're gonna be in for a rude awakening, in my opinion.
Do you? And I mean, I guess maybe this is an overall question for the viewership out there because, Eternals is great and I'm excited for it. But do you think that they would have had maybe better luck with something that they just totally shut the bed with, which is the Inhumans?
By far. I mean, they shit the bed. Let's just say it. They shit the bed. This should be the Inhumans. And it's a whole thing with Ike Perlmutter and Kevin Feige. Ike wanted the Inhumans. Kevin Feige didn't. They had a fight. He took it off the movie slate. Disney backed him, and they made a TV show of it. And it's the worst hot pile of garbage that is supposed to still be canon in the MCU, which is the Inhumans TV show. Absolute shit is what it is. And it's unfortunate because the Inhumans are vastly superior characters to the Eternals, in my opinion. Do you agree with that, Ref?
Yes, totally. I mean, and even some of the castings could have been translated. Like the Black Bolt's casting in mine would have been perfect in the movies, but they could have changed some of them. But like I said, I just feel like the way
It's a missed
Coach is
opportunity.
the way Coach is making this out is like, oh, okay, seems a little weird. We're getting Shang-Chi and we're getting, the Eternals. That seems like a muted start to a third phase.
Well,
And
the only thing they have going for them is they do have Black Widow coming out first. But then you got to
Yeah.
worry about how many people are really interested that she is already done. I mean, so you're going to watch
Mhm.
this knowing that this is it for her. And then
Mhm.
next is Eternals next? Not Eternals.
No, Shang-Chi is next.
Okay.
Shang-Chi,
And
whatever.
then Eternals is after
Eternals.
that. And then thankfully you have Spider-Man after that.
Yeah.
So they can take 2 risks, I guess, is what they're doing. But in my opinion, these 2 risks are even bigger than the Guardians of the Galaxy risk.
Maybe. And I only say maybe on. I say maybe on Shang-Chi. I mean, I know Joe Blow isn't going to know who Shang-Chi is, but he's got a pretty large history in the comics, like more than Guardians did.
Okay.
And, so there is actually quite a few people that, oh, yeah, man, I used to love that comic. So he's got a little bit of a fan following. It's not much, but Eternals has 0. Yeah, they've never been able to sustain a book ever. I mean, they'll have a run and it gets canceled, and they'll try another run and it gets canceled because they've never been hits. The only thing they have really going for them is Jack Kirby. So, and they really don't interact much with the Marvel Universe either in the comics. I mean, they're usually on their own. They hardly ever interact much. They have some, but the Inhumans, though, they are integral to the MCU, whereas Eternals they're practically on another planet half the time. So
Peter C has 2 questions again. He says, do they consider Inhumans canon?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100% canon.
And then the next thing he said is Guardians has a huge card in their back pocket, and the name is Adam Warlock.
Well, they do. Adam Warlock is Guardians big time.
And Guardians has something that these movies don't. They had all the Avengers movies. They had all the, they had the followings of Captain America, Thor, Iron Man. Like, those movies were still in play. Okay, Iron Man's no longer in play. Captain America is no longer in play.
Captain Rogers.
They were.
Captain Rogers.
Captain Rogers.
Excuse me.
Whatever.
Sorry, had to go there.
There could be 2 captains, damn it.
Yeah. The hell.
Well, the other thing, in my opinion, and I'm looking at it is my side that is somewhat knowing the comics but enjoys the movies. I am way more interested in something like the Thunderbolts or something like that than I am Eternals, and that's just honest. The Eternals just doesn't jump out at me like a really exciting action-packed movie like the Thunderbolts just sounds really fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this one's gonna. I'm hoping that it is gonna bring the action, like I've heard, like it's gonna be visually stunning. But I think it is gonna be more of a performance-based movie that we're not used to. But again, who cares about Oscars? But B, I understand Marvel wanting to try something a little different, not just, you think the Marvel formula is foolproof, and it mostly is, but at some point you run out of gas, you got to try something different. The problem is, are they going to go so different?
Yeah.
I'm not going to I won't go bore you with examples, but like when a favorite band, you get it, musicians want to try something different. And then, Metallica, you came off of Injustice for All and the Black Album, and then, hey, we're going to go try Load. We're going to cut our hair. And it's like, what the hell, guys? Like, I know you want it different, but this is like, you don't even sound like yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't want Marvel to go to that degree. So, but me, based on my excitement level for the Celestial stuff and the Kirbyisms and Black Knight, I'm still super excited, and I'm loving the sci-fi Ridley Scott tone. So I'm excited, but the only thing I'll say, one more thing, and then you guys can give me your thoughts. But I do agree, COVID's really hurt Marvel because you could have had Black Widow coming. Yes, I agree. Your point is it's super valid now because
But it
she's
wouldn't have
dead,
been
and
as
we've
big
been
of a deal back then.
right back then. It's like you still kind of had the hype train going, like,
Mhm.
oh, we get to see Scarlett Johansson one more time, and it'll be your more traditional Marvel movie, and then you can go into it was supposed to be Eternals next, and have your experimental movie, and you're probably still going to have the momentum, and then you can go into I think it was supposed to be Spider-Man, and then Shang-Chi,
Yeah.
and you could have kept that momentum really going. And now there is a danger. You got no momentum. You got Black Widow from a super stale movie that should have been over a year ago. And then you got two unknown properties with, like, wow, nothing visually striking me yet as a casual fan. And then you got so there's a big risk.
I'll jump on that, what you just said in a second. But Peter just says this is why Phase 4 needs to have the X-Men be slipped in it. And I can see that point.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the excitement, just for what you're saying. Now, I will say this. The plan for Disney Plus was to really bring excitement to WandaVision, to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gotten the boost that they were really hoping that it was going to get. I'm not saying it didn't do well. I'm just saying I don't know if it's done what they were hoping it would do, to where now you're going into Black Widow that really needs to be something big. And then, like you're saying, then Shang-Chi and then Eternals. That's the whole summer of maybe flat. And they can't want that.
No, I mean, I think it could be it could be like, hey, you're a real danger, or it could be that people are so starved to go back to movies and see Marvel on the big screen that you get extra boost from it. But
yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
Fair. Or you could
Yeah,
be
and the
like
hard thing about Disney, or the hard thing is, like, how do we know how hyped or how well WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier did? Because without box office is box office. You look at the numbers and you see what it did. You know, you can have a critical failure, but if it makes the money at the end of the day, the studio doesn't care. With the streaming numbers, I don't know. Disney can say, "Oh, Falcon Winter Soldier is #1 streaming." Great. What does that mean? I mean, you could have had a week where hardly anyone was. I mean, who knows what it means? So, it's hard. We don't know the success. Only they do.
True. Okay, and Peter just says X-Men can carry the Marvel franchise momentum if they cast it right, which I agree with that.
Well, and I have zero faith in them casting X-Men right at all. I get more worried about Wolverine every day. I think we're going to get not Wolverine that we hope we get. I mean,
and for that fact, Cyclops.
Oh, I don't even. We're gonna get Cyclops or something like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they could go so far as to, like, I don't know. I think anything goes. So my hopes for the X-Men are really low, but I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. And that's fair.
I hope I'm wrong.
Before we move to the next topic, we might as well real quick try to answer Greg's, if he's still in here. About what comics to read. And I'm going to be different than what probably Ace and Ref would be. But my first question would be, if he's not into comics, and you know him better than I do, what is his interest? Like, what?
Well, he's super, 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 super into sports. So you're a sports fan. What appeals to you? Because we know you love Batman. I don't think Greg even has a favorite hero per se.
Okay.
But those are his. I mean, he's really into sports. So, like, well, if I'm a sports fan, what would be something that would appeal to me?
But I don't know
Maybe
if he could start off something like Crisis or something like those types right off the bat.
I think that would be problematic as well. Probably picking a character like a Captain America run, or maybe tell him to read that Ed Brubaker run of Cap, where the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier would be a good one to read.
That'd be my recommendation. So what do you guys have?
I think whatever he feels a little bit of of a big superhero, that's what he should pinpoint, and then start asking questions about what runs to read from that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I mean, you can. There's nothing wrong with doing, if you want to start on an event and maybe go from there. You know, Civil War is a good jumping point too. So, you know, or I mean, if you want to start off obscure, you can jump into Millar World or something like that. I mean, there's
Invincible.
There's a lot of that good stuff too. Yeah,
I've got one. Yeah, it's super quick, easy read. It's pretty cheap. Ref has a good idea of Millar World. Look up Mark Millar Nemesis. It's a quick read and it's really good.
Yeah.
It's
Same
already
Superior.
Yeah.
And Peter,
those are really good reads. So
Peter C just says, "Nah, Marvel, the Walking Dead comic was very good."
Yes,
he is not wrong.
And one of the first things that I read, along with Crisis on Infinite Earths and Civil War, was Invincible, and I think you know, Invincible was a quick, easy read, and it's one of those that you never want to put down.
Yeah, it kept your interest probably the whole time.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes feel like we just talk about Invincible a lot, but yeah, it's kind of it's a gold standard book. It really is. Without question.
All right. What are we going to
Okay,
next?
guys. What do we got next? Let's talk about big news. We'll go dive into the Sony Marvel verse, keeping with Marvel a little bit. So they announced today Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven the Hunter. And the movie comes out January 13th, 2023. They got a release date. So what do you guys think about the casting? Does everyone know who Aaron Taylor Johnson is? He's Quicksilver.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was
that's why I'm shaking my head.
And he was in Godzilla.
Yep. That's why I'm shaking my head.
Not a fan of the casting then.
No, I mean, this is where those big burly fellas like a Dave Bautista or something could have really filled in a good gap. Like when I think of Kraven, I think of a big burly fella, not a, you know, and again, it's the same thing that I felt when whatchamajigger was cast as Luthor, as Lex Luthor.
Well, that was
Eisenberg or whatever. Like, okay, you're playing with a different type of person here. And second of all, huge fan of Quicksilver. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's and I know it's Sony. I know it, you know, it's not. It is Marvel Universe, but I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't think, you know,
that.
Feige's involved.
How do you explain that?
Kraven.
Well, but how are you gonna explain that? You know, like in my mind, if
I mean,
that's
they are somewhat related.
Yeah, that's sacrilegious to take someone from the same universe and put them in a different character. I know they did it with.
It was pretty successful once.
I know they did it really well with Steve Rogers and that guy.
Well, I mean, and to be fair though, Quicksilver was, whether you love the character or not, I mean, he was not memorable in Age of Ultron.
No, and he wasn't in it very long.
No, I mean his memory. You remember him that he died. That's basically all you remember.
Yep.
So,
he's also
he performed well as Quicksilver or not.
also a driving force for Wanda. I mean, look how many times that he has triggered Wanda in the show, and talking about it in the
Yeah, I
Avengers
mean,
movies.
that's his legacy in the MCU is that he's dead. That's what
Mhm.
that's his plot. That's his contribution to the MCU. I think it was a mistake to kill Quicksilver. I think there's way too many cool stories to have had with him, with his mental instability and kind of turning villain. He turned flat out villain for a while, and
Mhm.
but there's only so many movies and TV shows you can make. But so
Mhm.
I mean, I think Aaron Taylor Johnson has some potential. Apparently, he's in a movie called Bullet Train with Brad Pitt that's coming out, and they saw his performance in that and wanted to hire him on the spot based on that. So I think he has potential. I mean, he can be a pretty big guy. I think he's going to pump up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't hate the casting. But when you hear, oh, you could have had Keanu Reeves, ooh, yeah,
I mean,
you know,
they got to be careful with that though. Like Keanu Reeves is not a young pup, so
he's not. No,
it
Kraven's
might.
really not a young guy. Kraven, though, in the
No.
comics, is not like a 20-something-year-old. He's an older guy. He's like, he really should be portrayed as Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter, but bad,
Okay.
but an a-hole.
He's Deathstroke. He's Marvel's Deathstroke in essence, kind
I
of.
just think you got to be real careful though, because if they're, in my opinion, with this hiring, it's also showing you they're planning on more. They're not. This isn't going to be a one and done, or they would have hired an older guy. So they're planning on 5+ years with this character, in my opinion.
Well, and I'm weird about it. I don't really get excited about full-on villain movies. Like, I mean, Venom is not a full-on villain. He's been an anti-hero for years. Well, yeah, again, I was not excited about a Joker movie.
But it worked.
I mean, yeah, I was like, I don't want to see a Joker movie. I don't freaking care about the Joker. I don't want to see a movie about him. But again, I'm probably in the minority. I don't enjoy villain movies. I want to see anti-hero or hero movies and then have the cool villains in the movie. So it's like, why the hell are we having a Kraven the Hunter movie? At least I get Morbius, who's an anti-hero. Venom's an anti-hero. Black Cat's an anti-hero. Kraven the Hunter? What? He's not even one of Spider-Man's better villains, in my opinion, but whatever.
Well, and this is the same sentiment that Peter had. He said, not a fan of the villain either. Kraven never did anything for me.
No, he had that one storyline, Death of the Hunter or whatever it was with Mike Zeck on art back in the late 80s that was a big deal. But before that and since, weak villain for me. But we'll see. I mean,
this is another chance that they're taking. And I know,
I mean,
know
Marvel,
Sony is in on it, but Marvel is going to do a lot with it.
I think Marvel's like, look, we can't stop you from doing it, so we'll try to make the best of it. This was not a movie that Feige would make.
Okay.
I mean, this is Sony just going in and saying, "Oh, we're gonna share Spidey with you, but we're gonna go milk every other turd in your treasure chest there and make a movie out of it." So,
Interesting.
except for Spider-Woman, I guess we should switch gears unless you guys want to keep talking about Kraven. We can talk about the other ones that Sony is.
No, I'm 100% fine with going to the next. Are we going to Spider-Woman?
Yeah, so we'll start with Spider-Woman. Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman. So that has Olivia Wilde, who's a very attractive actress, who's directing it. I haven't heard much about it lately, but it's supposed to be getting some steam going this summer.
Is she directing it or starring in it?
She's directing it. She's not going to star in it.
I would have liked the
I
other
know.
way.
I'm like, what the hell? But so hopefully it'll. I have high hopes for that one. This one is the only one of the Sony movies that is maybe rumored to have some more direct connections to the MCU.
Okay.
Like this one
It could
might
be
have some
crossing more
Feige.
over.
This one might have some Feige involvement. I don't know to what degree or if it'll even be true, but it is rumored to be true. So I think this one will be the
Because
most exciting. And this is go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
this
ahead.
is one of Ace's favorite female characters, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, her and Invisible Woman are easily Wonder Woman, but for Marvel, yeah, those two are my favorite female characters by a mile. So yeah, I'm super pumped for it.
And yeah, so I mean, her link to the overall Marvel universe and the MCU is her involvement with Shield, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think that's why I think she makes a lot of sense. She's Shield centric in her origins and involvement with Sword as well, and so yeah, I think there's going to be a direct tie-in. Hopefully, I'm hoping some seeds are planted in Secret Invasion, maybe. So we will see. But that's a big one to look out for.
I mean, it goes perfectly that they're going to do something like this with this character, that they're trying to find good female characters, and this is a good female character.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say this, and you're going to probably hit me, but growing up, I was always big into Spider-Man and Friends cartoon.
yeah.
And when you see this, you get confused real quick about it being, was it Firestar?
Firestar. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just me. Because I haven't read anything about Spider-Woman at all.
Yeah, she's really cool. If you guys have Disney Plus, go check out her animated cartoon from the 70s. It's on Disney Plus. So you can see some of that. Spider-Man's even in one of the episodes. So
Okay.
But yeah.
Any background on Spider-Woman then? Like, real quick, like, is she related to Spider-Man at all? Or?
No. Super quick history. I think Tom, I don't know if we talked about it with Tom, but back in the 70s, I think it was, I don't know if it's Hanna-Barbera, but whatever. Marvel heard that a cartoon company was developing Spider-Woman as a cartoon. And so Marvel quick got something together and created Spider-Woman. And so they had to end up calling the cartoon character Webb Woman.
Okay.
So there is a cartoon out there called Webb Woman. But Jessica Drew was created. She's got origins with Hydra. She's actually scientifically developed by her parents who were Hydra agents. And so she started out as more of a villain, but quickly got out of that and became her own person. And all her 70s comic run was her having adventures in San Francisco. And she had a really bizarre rogues gallery. She met Werewolf by Night, which is cool. This is where the Shroud had a lot of involvement with her. He was a big part of the series. Super cool character if you want to know more about the Shroud. And so then she kind of went into limbo, lost her powers, was out of the picture for a long time. And then there were some other ladies that took over Spider-Woman mantle. And then she came back with a vengeance with Brian Michael Bendis and the New Avengers, and she's been around ever since. So
okay.
Awesome character though, but I'm partial to the 1970s run. So.
I didn't know that there was any Hydra part with that. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's why another thing that just makes sense for her to be more integral to the MCU. So
Peter just said he really loved Dazzler, once again, an X-Man related arc.
Oh yes,
Dazzler was a cool one. I've got the showcase Dazzler with all the black and white. Yeah, man,
Dazzler was cool.
I still think Gene Simmons should sue Marvel though for ripping off his face design on her face paint, but whatever. Gene doesn't care about money. He's cool like that.
Yeah, he doesn't care about money at all.
And we had a slight Dazzler in one of the X-Men movies, didn't we?
We did. Dazzler is in Dark Phoenix for all of 2 or 3 seconds.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And she's in her classic 70s costume too, but she's just standing there singing, and it's like, well, that's all we get. So go check out Spider-Woman. Amazing character. She's headed our way.
All
So
right.
who we got next for the Sony? There's a ton of Sony movies. in
Whatever
development.
you are in control.
Ref, why don't you okay, here's who we're gonna talk about. You can take one. We've got Black Cat, Silver Sable, Night Watch, Man Wolf, not Manwich, Man Wolf.
Manwich. I want my sandwich.
Solo. Is there one more?
That might be it. Silk.
Morbius?
Silk. Well, we're talking about ones that are in development. Like Morbius is done and in the can. It's coming out.
Right. Okay.
But yeah. So these are the ones that Sony is working on.
I mean, here's a funny thing, and I think you mentioned something about it, Ace, is like a lot of these characters are pretty cool. But I mean, like Solo. Was there 1 4-issue miniseries about Solo? Like,
Two.
I mean, it's
hey, don't shortchange him.
So I'm guessing we're not talking about Solo from Ref.
Solo's cool though. I mean, I think he's cool, but he's he's kind of a Punisher type. He's
He's an odd choice. I mean, he's a mercenary. He can teleport, and he likes to shoot people.
I would take a paladin over him.
Oh,
there's cool characters like that.
I love me some paladin.
Yeah.
And you know me though, and this is me where I'm in the minority. I love the obscure characters.
I do too.
So I mean, if you want to make a Solo movie, I'm not gonna say no. I'll go see that all day long if it looks cool.
Ain't gonna make a huge amount of money though.
Yeah, I see it more of a. I see this one, and then okay, so that's really all there is about Solo. He's pretty limited, mercenary. He can teleport. He's worked with Deadpool some. So, that's his big deal. I see that as an Amazon Prime series. That's what I see. I don't see that as
It'll be perfect.
movie.
Why isn't it a Disney Plus series then? Because of Sony or what?
Correct. So I guess we could quickly segue back to Silk. So that that show is happening on Amazon Prime. They've got a showrunner, director. They're talking to a actress to be cast. So that one's definitely happening, and that goes to Amazon Prime. So through Sony.
So again, with what you did with Spider-Woman, what would you say a quick background on Silk?
Oh, Silk is pretty new. I couldn't tell you what year she debuted, but she's fairly newer compared to the other characters. And gosh, I think I forgot she was experimented on. This is sad. I can't tell you her origin specifically, but she was in a bunker. She got discovered. She came out. She had this weird pheromone attraction to Peter Parker, and he had it to her too. And so they tried to figure out. She lost. It was like imagine being in an underground bunker for years and not knowing what's going on in the outside world. So then she came out and had to be caught up on everything. She's half Korean. So, and then she developed her powers, and then she's had a lot of other series that are very unreadable. I mean, initially in the Spider-Man run, when she got introduced, I thought she was pretty cool. But her solo titles, Ref, I mean, have you been able to read those much? I mean,
no, they're not that great. And like you hit on it, the pheromone thing is probably the coolest thing about her. Like, and kind of how it just really threw Peter Parker for a loop. And I mean that's unique to her. So that'll be
I mean, so I think there's potential in a show with her. Visually, I think she looks kind of cool. So, but she's newer, and so there's not as much history on her. But I couldn't recommend too many runs of her solo title, unfortunately, which is a bummer. But so that one's definitely happening. Then you've got
one question before you go to the next thing. What I have always been confused on with all the Spider-Man things, Miles Morales, Silk, all of them, how many freaking people get bit by a spider that does that to them? Is that how Silk got her powers, or is she just
No, no, like Spider Woman was not bitten by a spider. She was genetically manipulated in the womb. Silk, I sadly I can't say exactly how she was also manipulated. She was not bitten by a spider.
obviously Miles was?
Yeah, Miles was, so that was just kind of your whole knockoff thing in the Ultimate Universe, and now he's over in the Prime Marvel Universe. So yeah.
That movie's got to be happening soon.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure I think he's gonna cameo in Far From Home. I think they're gonna have a little, even an after credit scene of something with Miles live action.
Really?
That's my prediction. So then you got Man Wolf. That's J. Jonah Jameson's son, who's an astronaut. He goes to the moon. He finds this rock, this stone. It grafts itself to his throat, and then he has werewolf powers. So, but like a werewolf, though, he's uncontrollable under the moon. So he's kind of a villain and just basically like a rampaging werewolf.
Okay.
So at times, though, he gets control of it and has his own mind and can actually control the power. So that's when he's kind of a good. He's an can help out like a Morbius, where Morbius can't always control things either. So
where do they come up with these? I mean, that's crazy. Just say what you just said to think about that is a character that they came up with. They went to the moon and
well, yeah. Then
happened.
He finds out that the stone is from another world, and he's been chosen as the Star Wolf, and he gets taken on an adventure, and he's got total control of it, and he becomes this barbarian warlord on another planet and has a huge adventure, drawn by George Perez, my favorite artist. So so yeah, and then he came back and he's kind of been back to the Man Wolf, but yeah, wild stuff on him.
Interesting.
So
all right,
so who we got next? Oh, I know who we talked to. Madam Webb. There's a gal there with a trench coat and then an older lady.
I got her.
So I should have looked this up, but this movie does actually have a director, shockingly.
How far out is it?
I mean, I haven't heard anything probably in 8 months about it since the director was hired, so who knows for sure. But this is Julia Carpenter in the trench coat, and she was introduced in Secret Wars as Spider-Woman, and this was when Jessica Drew had lost her powers and was no longer Spider-Woman. So she became Spider-Woman for years and joined the Avengers, and her costume was black and white, just like Spider-Man's black and white costume. But she eventually lost her powers too, and a bunch of shenanigans happened. She became the new Madam Web because the old Madam Web, as you see there, passed on her powers to Julia.
Okay.
And Madam Web is this psychic that was always around and just kind of sitting on her weird bubble ball. I never got into that character weird at all. Yeah, I was like, what is up with this elderly woman in a spider outfit who would randomly psychically contact Spider-Man and give him prophecies and like whatever.
That's a little out there.
But I think they're going to try to, I think this movie is rumored to be a multiverse kind of situation. So,
okay,
we'll see. Ref, talk about Black Cat and Silver Sable.
Well, not as polished on Silver Sable, but Black Cat to me is, I think is a cool character because again, it reminds me. I do a lot of similes, so if I get too much of a similarity wrong, you're probably gonna have to slap me. But it reminds me of a Catwoman.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, she is a straight, in my opinion, a straight off knockoff of Catwoman. But I think visually she's cool. I think
I say she looks
her.
cool.
I think she looks cool as heck.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I
She was always in love with Spider-Man, but not Peter.
yeah.
Huh.
Yes. She didn't really like Peter.
But she
to be
knew who he
honest.
was.
Yeah.
No. She's like, put the mask back on. I don't want you as Peter. Yuck.
Yeah, you're little nerd.
Get out of my
Come on.
face.
So yes, I'm kind of excited for a Black Cat movie. I think that will, of all the characters
Yeah.
we've talked about so far, as much as I love Solo and maybe some of those other ones, but I think she's probably the next the most well known of them all, to be honest.
Yeah, it shocks me that it's not more in active development.
Mhm.
And it was actually. Let me go back real quick. Silver Sable and Black Cat were going to be in a movie together. They had a director who was getting ready to shoot, and they just couldn't get the script together. It was called Silver and Black was the movie, and it had a release date and everything. And it got scrapped at the ninth hour or whatever, and which sucks because I thought that would have been a good movie. You had the mercenary Silver Sable. That's her job. I mean, her and Spider-Man will run into each other and be fighting because she's been paid to kill someone or do whatever. And then you have Black Cat, who's a thief, like Catwoman. And I think those two would have made a really interesting movie. Two lesser known characters to combine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now the rumor is that they're just developing solo movies. And I'm like, well, I still think an outing together is smarter.
Because the Catwoman movie went well, didn't it?
Oof. Yeah, that killed female superhero movies for a decade. Yikes.
Okay, so
rough.
Peter says, and we'll get to this here second. We're still on sort of Black Cat, but Silver Sable was a great character, but the writers never kept me interested in the comics.
Yeah, I can't say that I mean, I like her. I'm not like a huge fan. I mean, I never read much of the comics. Silver Sable and the Wild Pack was out in the 90s. It was just so. Battlestar was part of her Wild Pack though for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Old Battlestar. God rest his soul.
So who would you consider Silver Sable comparable to in the DC universe, just like Black Cat is Catwoman?
She's definitely more of a Deathstroke type.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably not as evil. I mean, she's never been. I mean, Slade's done some pretty despicable things, even though he's been heroic at times. Silver Sable's never been like that, but she's definitely comparable.
Okay. And then we have not talked about Nightwatch.
Oh man, Nightwatch, the Spawn ripoff of the 90s. He was direct. I actually, when we looked at some visuals, I pulled up his costume that they had to redesign because I think Todd McFarlane was like, no, guys, you are blatantly ripping off Spawn with his other costume, so you need to change it up. So he's super obscure. But here's what's crazy. It didn't happen for whatever reason. They actually got Spike Lee hired to direct this movie.
Really?
And they had a writer and everything. And nobody that I know, as far as the insiders, they don't know why it went kaput, but it did. However, they say it's still in development in some other form. So we'll see.
Is this, with him being so obscure, is this enough to actually have a movie about?
Well, the only thing that adds something to it is that he is African American. So, that's an opportunity for diversity and getting a original black hero on
Which
the
I
screen.
think is fantastic if they would do that.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, man, visually he looks cool as hell. He's a black hero we need more of, original. And so I'm all for it. But there is pretty limited. He had some appearances in Spider-Man, and they wanted to pounce on the Spawn popularity, spun him off into his movie or his own comic. I think it only lasted like 12, 14 issues. Then he wasn't seen for years and years and years. So there's not a lot.
Well, what was that character? I mean, if you're talking about predominant African American heroes, what was the character on the New Warriors?
Night Thrasher.
Night Thrasher. I mean, you really want to go with a better opportunity. I know we're talking about Sony, but you know, there's a better opportunity. And wasn't Freeform who had that New Warrior show in development?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The thing about Night Thrasher is he's totally Feige and Marvel. So, but you're right. Yeah, we had a New Warriors, but that was developed by Jeff Loeb. Going to be on Hulu, Freeform.
Would have been garbage.
It would have been hot trash. Hot trash. I would like to get my hands on it on some convention. There's, they shot a pilot for the show, so it's out there. Really, if you're talking about the African American characters that are in the Spider-Man verse, do you know Cardiac Ref? He has a lot more interest. He's a heart surgeon, and he's more of I think he'd be way more interesting even than Night Watch. But nothing on him yet. So, ooh, that might be a good TikTok. Cardiac, yeah.
There you go.
All right, guys. So there's a lot of things with Sony and development. Let us know what you think. If it's something you're excited about, if any of these characters sound intriguing, look intriguing. And they are. I think there's a lot of potential there, but they're not well known. So
I think I'm interested. If I had to pick which ones I would be interested in, Kraven I think does interest me because I do like that type of character, and I do think they're going to go for it. They're not just doing a one and done. They're going to actually go for it.
Yeah, they're investing in the character for sure.
With you talking about Hydra and stuff, about Spider-Woman, that actually interests me more than what I thought the character was about. Because I know nothing about Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
Black Cat really doesn't interest me because I feel like we've been there, done that.
Yeah.
With DC. Man Wolf is a little too weird for a whole series or movie.
Ooh, I love me some werewolves, though.
Yeah, but I just don't put those up in the same situation as Marvel hero type situation.
Right.
Silk, if they could do it right, I think it would interest me.
Yeah, I think it has potential for sure.
And then Silver Sable, I could be okay with that.
Yeah, I think you could pull off something with her. Fairly easy, not easy, but fairly easy to make it visually like, oh, she's a mercenary, kick-ass female.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Night Watch I would be interested in, and Solo I'm not really that interested in.
Yeah, I think Solo's a long shot. It's one of those that's like, it may or may not ever come to fruition, but we'll see. I used to think I wasn't in that interested in Madam Web, but I'm like, man, if they actually did the whole older lady passing on the mantle to Julia and the younger Madam Web and the multiversal kind of stuff and make her kick ass, that kind of has some potential in my opinion.
Which would be a pretty cool spin. So
yeah,
spin, you get it?
No pun intended.
Oh,
yo, it went right over you. Damn.
It was so great that I didn't catch it.
Didn't use your.
That's what we call good stuff right there.
All right, so do you want to talk real quick about Superman and Lois? What you said is already spoiled.
Oh man, yeah, it's spoiled, baby.
But I'm interested, so if you want to talk about it.
Well, it was pretty cool. So, the guy that, spoiler alert,
Spoiler
everybody.
alert.
If you are interested in Superman and Lois, this is a spoiler for episode 7.
The ref's
And we
gone.
lost Ref. He's gone. He's turning it off.
He gone.
Hey, we
Don't want to spoil it.
we got Captain Luthor. We find out who Captain Luthor is. Now, I still didn't catch where he tried to take the Luthor name, but
Yeah, what? Okay, sorry.
I don't know. That hasn't been determined yet. But we find out he's actually John Henry Irons. Yeah, it's pretty badass. And there's actually a scene where he makes his hammer. Ooh, yeah. And it looks just like the comics. And he does some damage with it. Now, he doesn't have his armor on. He just has the glove and the hammer, but it's coming. So that was as big a reveal as back when Supergirl was actually decent. And we had no idea John Jones was going to be introduced as Martian Manhunter. And then, boom, episode 3 or 4, I can't remember. It's like, holy crap, it's Martian Manhunter. So this was as big as that, probably a little bigger. So it'll be nice to see a really authentic Steel outside of the Shitty Shack version.
Yeah.
Get that, Shitty Shack?
Shitty Shack. Love Shack.
Love Shack. Shitty Shack. So that movie's actually fun to watch, to make fun of. But so it'll be great to see a really good Steel. And this show just keeps, every episode is amazing. This episode is great too, man. It's just like, it's the good family drama. It's never like, this again. It's just really freaking good.
Okay, I'm going to go for a big on a limb here. And Josh, you might come over here during the middle of it and like cut me up or something, but
well,
okay, get
I'm pretty
ready.
Chill right now, so I'm good.
I'm going to say so far this Superman and Lois series is my favorite thing of any Superman we have seen on TV or movie.
Okay,
Wow.
I'm getting in my car.
Hey, Ref, start up that vehicle. Get me first, and then we'll roll over to coaches and have a word.
Knives?
I mean, it is what it is.
No, I think
it
is really good though.
I think they're taking chances, but they're staying on point, and it just feels like they want to be authentic, I feel, to the comics. At the same time, they're not going out of their way yet to be political, to be anything. They are giving us what we need right now to sit down and watch something and have a good time and be intrigued. And so far, they've done it.
It's such a breath of fresh air to be like, man, so far, not political, just telling a good story. No agenda, just telling a good story. Staying true to the characters. Like, geez, is this really happening right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting it up there with the facts of Man of Steel or anything like that. What I'm saying is I have enjoyed this way more than I thought I would.
Yeah. And you know what? And it does help that the effects are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Ref. Sorry.
Yeah, I think what Coach you're saying is that you feel like as an interpretation of who you see Clark Kent Superman to be, they're doing the best representation here. Now, is it the best actor? No. Is it the best visually? Probably not. But as a character, as a air about the show and his universe, yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm going to say this actor is moving up the list pretty fast.
Sure, I can get that. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, I mean he's really up there. He's probably neck and neck with. He's probably just past Tom Welling for me because he's actually Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So he's only behind Cavill and Reeve for me now, which is shocking because he was dead flipping last. He was behind Dean
Supergirl.
Cain.
He was. Oh
gosh, yeah.
You watch yourself, man.
I know you. Dean Cain, stan you.
Peter just said, I like Man of Steel, but that might be because of Diane Lane. Even at her old age, she was very pretty. I mean,
She still
that's
is.
truth, man. Go watch Streets of
Unfaithful
Fire.
is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch Streets of Fire, man. Back in the whoo, hot damn.
But what I like also about this is, I think both of us were sort of questioning the Luther. We were like, oh, come on, Luther again. We're going there again. And they have flipped it. And now I'm even more intrigued because where are they going next? What are they going to do next? Who are they bring? Are we finally going to get who we want to see? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, man, we're going to get this guy as Steel. I mean, that's super exciting. I think there were some seeds planted in this episode, and Coach won't know this run because it's pretty new, but Ref will. The Lana Lang Superwoman run with her gaining powers.
That was awesome.
And I feel like there were some minor seeds planted with the possibility of Lana getting powers, and maybe she goes and tries to be the Superwoman. And I love that costume, by the way, that red and white one. I think it's freaking great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think there's some good things happening. They just need to bring in my man Jose, Gangbuster. Damn it.
But, okay, so that, I can never say her name right. Emmanuel Sharik or whatever her name is.
Is she the one that plays Lana?
Yeah, she's a big actress she's probably the most famous one out of all the cast.
I'd say so.
So they're going to do something big with that part, in my opinion.
I hope so.
And
because
she's
like
going to
her.
look good in a costume too. And they have hinted so many times. The one dude has said that she's special. She's going to be something.
Yeah. I think if they don't do that, it'll be super lame.
Yeah.
They just need to get rid of her husband because he's a tool.
Oh, I think that's going to happen probably pretty quick.
Yeah, he's a massive D-bag.
All right, everybody say bye to Peter. He's got to get going.
What's up?
Bye, Peter.
What's up, Peter? Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Peter. Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Bye then.
bye.
Other than that, everything so far. The only thing that I was disappointed in a little bit is that, it's Lex Luthor again, even though it was a twist.
Sure.
But now that they've twisted it again, I'm like, I'm all in.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah, I was like, at least it's not of the same world. It's like, oh my gosh, freaking Luthor again. Yeah, so couldn't agree more. That's one thing about Superman. It's like, please stop giving us Lex Luthor. I want other villains.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like, man, with the Ta-Nehisi Coates hot dumpster fire that's going to come our way. I shouldn't be so negative, but I don't have hope for it.
It's just true.
And it's like, man, if Henry Cavill doesn't come back, it is nice to know as a Superman fan, you've got the show. Even if the very next episode it takes a turn, it's like 7 super strong episodes.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have really great new Superman content. So
who are crazy?
Batman fans get everything.
Yeah, eat a fart, Batman.
Let's just go out on a limb real quick. Who can you see them bringing in as a villain if Superman and Lois keeps being as successful as it is?
I actually thought about that, and I'm kind of having trouble where they're going to go with this after this Morgan Edge storyline. Like, man, where do you get more villains in Smallville I don't know, man. It's going to be tough.
I mean,
then are you going to start? Go ahead.
Can you ever see a Bizarro? Can you ever see a Brainiac? Can you ever see? How do you feel it can go?
I like Bizarro. I think Bizarro would be a really strong way to go. I like that the best. Yeah, I think you could do that with Morgan Edge or some other scientist that cloned, or actually Sam Lane tried to clone him, and we end up getting Bizarro Superman. I like that. I like that. I do say, and I don't know if Ref watched it all, the Krypton sci-fi TV show with Adam Strange that
Yes.
was on there.
Yes.
Man, that Brainiac was really good. He looked
Mm-hmm.
amazing. He was menacing and actually kind of creepy and scary.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it was on a TV show, we've got a pretty good Brainiac, but it'd be nice to see more of Brainiac.
I mean, if you got a pretty good budget, I'm all about Mongol. You know,
Yes.
I think that would be great, but you know, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of budget there. So.
You are so right, but Mongol would be amazing. That's probably what I want to see almost as much as Bizarro. But those two right there.
Mm-hmm.
And Gangbuster.
Oh, Gangbuster.
I want my Gangbuster.
All right. I don't have much more. I don't know what you all have.
I want my Hot Toys Gangbuster
Hot Toys.
action figure.
Hot Toys.
Hey, one last thing though. Next week there's supposed to be a Netflix kind of fandom online event.
Okay.
And a lot of discussion on The Witcher season 2 and Masters of the Universe Revelation and the tunes coming out, which I'm super excited for.
I think that would be awesome.
I'm really kind of thinking that might be a good place to announce Jupiter's Legacy season 2 or some more Miller World properties. So I know Jupiter's Legacy keeps in the top 10. Seems like it's been a huge hit. So fingers crossed and all that.
That sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's all we got for this week. What do you think?
I think we're good.
I think that's it.
All right, guys.
We're out.